Hello, everybody. Keith here, Math, Fun and Games. Unfortunately, when I did my video and I played turn 3 of PanzerBlitz Situation 2, I had the audio on, but I did not have the video capture working. But now I have the video capture working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick review of turn 3, and then I'm going to do turn 4. So I'm going to back up a little bit. Okay, here we are. So this is the map to review the victory conditions. The Germans have to eliminate 10 Russian units in order to achieve a marginal victory. They have to eliminate 20 units. Sorry. Right. The Germans have to eliminate 20 units to get a tactical victory, and the Germans have to eliminate 30 units to get a decisive victory. The Russians have to move. If you look at these arrows right here, there are lines, all right? The Russians have to have at least one unit in this level at the end of the game to have a marginal victory. They have to have at least one unit at this line to have a tactical victory, and they have to have one unit in this line to have a decisive victory. Russians move last, so that is an advantage for the Russians because the Russians can just move up and then they'll have the very last move and they can move into place. So, okay. What happened last time was these infantry units moved over. Let me do the eastmost map first. So what happened on turn 3 is that these will start with the German movement or German fire phase. So I don't believe the Germans had any fire per se that turn. So the Germans didn't have any fire. The movement phase, the Germans moved these two infantry. They want to go up here in the woods. The Germans moved these two half tracks to block off this path right here. The Russians have their guard, the 3 guard units. They're very strong, and they're coming up on this side. Meanwhile, the Russians had units in a hex before the city over here, and the German armor overran those units and ended up in the city. After the Germans overran those 2 units outside the city, the German armor found themselves inside the city with infantry and engineers about. That's never a good thing. If you're in an armor unit and there are engineers and infantry about, bad situation, particularly if you want infantry yourself. During the Germans' movement phase, they moved 2 tank units, 1 tank here and 1 tank here. So they're outside of the halfway mark of this unit right here. This unit actually has a range of 5. Okay, so that unit has a very, very small range. Yeah, 12, range of 5, defense. So this unit right here can barely reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can barely reach the Germans. Germans, meanwhile, have good sighting on this unit on the hill. Down here in this forested area, the Germans moved up a mortar unit, heavy mortar in a truck. They're just waiting for the armor right here to eliminate this Russian unit on a hill. The 2 anti-armor guns loaded up on trucks. The rifle unit in the city in the center board and the half-track are staying in place. Moving up, the Germans did a close assault on this mortar right here, this very strong mortar. The close assault resulted in dispersal. The Germans moved this armor right here in front of the woods, in front of the path of where all these Russian infantry are moving. Then it was the Russians' turn. The Russian moved these infantry up through the woods. They also took this cart that had been hauling that howitzer and move that cart up toward the decisive phase line. So now the Germans are going to have to send units up and waste units to destroy that one cart. Kind of a funny quirk of this game. This unit right here was dispersed, so they didn't have a move. These units right here moved up. Each of those moved up a hex. Moving to the center board, your infantry are now moving forward. This guy took a shot at one of these armored units, but failed to do any damage. This mortar unit checked to see if it's in range of these armored vehicles. It wasn't, so it moved up. Okay. I just wanted to see if Russian armor had extended range, and they don't. Moving down. So down here during the Russians' turn, the Russian moved an infantry on top of that engineer unit so that they can get the benefit of an engineer unit in a close assault against these armored units. The two guard units moved up. Then in the close assault, these infantry units dispersed the two armor units that's in the city. And I believe that is all that was going on in turn 3. So now we're going to go into turn 4. So we begin turn 4. It's going to be the German fire phase. And I'm going to start with the south board. The Germans don't have any fire, I believe. Yeah, I don't say fire for the Germans. In the east, at least, let's check the center. So the Germans do have some fire over here. These two armor units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be 1426 to 9. They're just missing 26 to 9. They're just missing 3-to-1 odds, but they have a 2-to-1 odds. This unit is up higher, so they got 2-to-1 odds. Terrain effects, hilltops. Attackers, attack factor is halved. Okay. So they're going to have 1-to-1 odds. Let's see. It's going to be 7 and 6 is 14. So they're going to have 1-to-1 odds against that unit on the hill. Are they going to even waste the time with that shot? I do not know. I don't think they're going to. They're not going to waste the time shooting at that. Are they going to shoot anything else? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, what they're going to do is you have... Let me just clear everybody's moved. Okay. So what you have is Russian units moving in the open. Prime for overrun attacks. So this unit could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's what these armor units are going to do. They're going to try overrunning these infantry units. I think they're going to focus on one of these hexes. But that means they won't have any fire. So let's check fire up north. And the rest, the Germans. The Germans right now have to take out that cart. So they're going to have to waste time going over there to take out that cart. Fortunately, that cart right now happens to be in open terrain. So I have to see the quickest way to get over. But so the Russians aren't going to fire. The Germans aren't going to, well, it won't take much to take out that cart, will it? So this 14-8, it can fire at that. It's a howitzer. Let's take a look at the combat effectiveness. So it's armor against armor. Half range unless it's doubled, so it's only half. So that armor is actually kind of weak. Okay. So one of these armor units, so these two armor units aren't going to fire. Now over here, we have a fire attack against this mortar and the truck. That's through. If they focus just on the mortar, this unit right here is on a slope. So it's halved, so it'll be 1 plus 3 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 to 2, so 4 to 1 odds. If I fire just on the mortar, but I'm also going to fire on the truck. So it's going to be 3 to 1 odds. I'm going to roll it because I want to take that mortar out. 3 to 1 odds. They rolled a 4. So that's a heavy dispersal. Okie-dokie. So those units are dispersed again. These units are marked as being fired. Did I make that? Let me just recheck the odds just to make sure. So it's 1, so it's 5, 2.5, 4.5, 7.5, 10.5, 10 to 3. That is a 3 to 1 odds. Okay, so they're still dispersed. And that's it for the fire phase. So I'm going to start over here now. Movement phase. I want to take out that wagon right there. So how do I get over there? So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has to enter the hex immediately behind it, right there. So we're going to have an overrun attack. Can I go this direction? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's going to have to go around. Okie dokie. So this unit's going to do an overrun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the overrun, and then 7.5 into the woods. So the overrun is going to be 12 to 1. That cart is eliminated. Too easy. So the Germans are halfway to a marginal victory. And that unit has been marked, moved. Now, who else wants to move here? Who else wants to move here? I'm going to take this unit and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to make it very difficult to close assault that tank. So if those Russians want to leave the woods, 1, they could still be over there. It'd be hard to overrun. We'll see what happens. All right, centerboard movement. Overruns. Now the fun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3.5, 4, right there. And this guy's gonna overrun 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. So those 2 units overran. So it's going to be 26 to 32. Those Russian units have pretty good defense. 26 to 32. So it's a 1 to 2 odds. Okay, so an overrun, you increase the odds in favor of the attacker and you subtract 2. So coming in, you had 26 to 32, so you had 1 to 2 odds. The overrun makes it a 1 to 1 odds, and you also have a -2 on the dice roll. So it's going to be 1 to 1 with -2, and we get 0, and that eliminates those Russian units. You do not want to be in open ground. If there are armor units here, there and around. Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that stack? That's just one. Okay. See if I can remove the move. Just want to remove the. Yeah, I can leave it like that. So, okay, so those units move. They overran. Okay. Those units, this rifle unit is going to reload on the half track right there. Now, what am I going to do with these anti-armor weapons over here? The anti-armor guns, which are loaded on the back of this. You know what? I think that is how I'm going to get to that self-propelled gun unit on the hill. So we're going to go like this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just want to see the range. The range is 6. So that's less than half range. It's up on a hill, so it'll be a penalty. Just want to make sure I'm moving right. Clear. Cost trucks 2 to enter. Okay, so there's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then it's going to unload right there. That's how we're going to get that armor unit off that hill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And that's where the other anti-armor gun is going to go. No, I don't think I want to do that. I'm going to move it right here into the city. I'm going to load. The reason being is if the Russians move, I want to have, if the Russians move from that hill right there, I want to have coverage of the area that they're most likely to move in. So I'm going to do that. This unit right here with that mortar, it's still waiting for the hill to open up. So we're done with that board. We're done with the westernmost board. Over here, the south. These infantry, they can only move 1 hex. Yay. Okay. So it's 2 areas I got to worry about. I got to worry about these infantry right here, which are taking on the tanks in the city, and I got to worry about these guard units. And the German rifle platoons here do not have really strong defense. All right, I'm going to do the simple thing. I'm going to send 1 in each direction. Hope that's enough. The half tracks will remain in place. Okay. So that is the movement phase. I don't have any. Do I have any close assaults? No, I do not. They actually fired. And I believe that is it. Okay, so that's it for the German movement phase. Now we got to look for the Russians. The Russians already have a marginal victory if they stay beyond the H hex row here. If they move up 2 hexes, they have a tactical victory. If that mortar stays on a hill, it will be a tactical victory for the Russians. So far you're looking, they're just in marginal victory conditions right now. The issue with the Russians have right now is there's a lot of open ground here. And they don't want to be moving across open ground because you have tanks about. Meanwhile, the Germans have eliminated 7 units, 3 more, and they'll have their marginal victory wrapped up. But then they'll need 10 beyond that to get the tactical victory. So I'm going to start the Russian turn. Does the Russian have any Rove mines? Do the Russians have any fire? Okay, the end of the German turn, that would have, the dispersal would have been eliminated. So do the Russians have any fire? I say niet on the south board. I mean not south, the furthest east board. The center. Okay, do the Russians have any fire? I'll say so. So they have this armor, and they have this armor, and the truck. So that's going to be 12-3. That's going to be 4-1. That will take out that truck. Yep, I believe so. 12. And the odds are probably even higher than that because it's armor against armor. So that's going to take out that German anti-armor weapon. Well, it was a nice try. Move those over there. And that unit is going to mark fired. This unit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That unit doesn't have any targets close by. I mean, yeah, well, it's Russian turn anyways. So 8 and 8. Infantry against armor. But they'd be better off doing a close assault right there. So they're going to wait for a close assault. How about this mortar? 1, 2, 3. So that'll be a 1-3 odds. If they go the other one, it'll be still a 1-4. So it'll be a 1-3 odds against this vehicle. Check effectiveness. Armor against mortar. It's only half. So the attack factor would be halved. Okay, mortar against armor at half range or less. So it would be normal firepower. So that would be 3. So there are 2 of them, so that'll be 6 to 8. That'll be a 1-2 odds. So there'll be a chance. There'll be a 1-3 chance of dispersing that unit, and we get a 5. No can do. So they're marked fired. Anybody else that wants to be, they can fire. They can, but they're not. They're going to wait till the close assault. This unit right here, I think is going to continue up the slope. Things with the slope hex side, it obviates the possibility of armor overrun. And if I can get these units up on that hill, that's going to be great. That's it for the fire phase in this board. Up north. Any fire. Can remove those. all of those. Okay. So we have that howitzer over there. Let's see if that howitzer has a target. Okay, so 3. So that'd be a 1 to 3. But that tank is in wood, so it doesn't even have a line of sight to it. And I don't believe that howitzer has a line of sight to anything else. And its cart's gone, so it's toast. It's useless. And that's it for possible fire. Okay, so we're going into the movement phase. The Russian movement phase. I'm going to start with the west board. First, I'm going to move these units down here. It's going to move 1. And it's going to move 1. Slowly, they move up. Over here. I'm going to move 1. I want to stay on that slope. 1. 1. I want to avoid open ground because I don't want to be overrun with those tanks. That's it for movement over there. Moving over here. 1. 1. And did I move my easternmost units? These guard units are going to move up. 1 and 1. Okay. So that's it for movement. So now we have close assaults. And the only close assault I believe that the Russians have, well, they have this one right here. So it's going to be 8. Oh, it's actually going to be a good attack. 16 to 8, so it's going to be 2 to 1 with the -2. That's a really good close assault. 5 minus 2 is 3. That's a heavy dispersal. Okay, I'll just mark them fired as a reminder. And then I'll come to this board. Over here, we have 20. What do we have over here? 9. 9 to 20 is 1 to 3 odds, but there's an engineer there. So we could, so 1 to 2 odds minus 1. 1, wow. So it's 1 to 2 odds. Because it started at 1 to 3. Because it was 9 to, oh, wait a minute here. Yeah, it's, so you have 9 to 20. 1 to 3 odds becomes 1 to 2 odds. 1 to 2 odds minus 1. See if there's any effect of being in a city. Town. Yeah, add 1 to attackers. So it's going to be 1 to 2 odds minus 1. So it's going to be a 0 result on 1 to 2 odds. Ooh. That's as good as it gets. It's going to be, those units are once again dispersed. And they're holding those. Oh, but the thing is, they're not advancing at all. Maybe if they can hold these armor units dispersed, and these guard units can take care of business on the right, then maybe that'll give the guard units a chance. Because if these guard units can get behind these 2 half tracks and this infantry, and then infantry up there, then they are golden. They can just hit the road and they have a very good chance of reaching that decisive victory row. Okay. Okay, so that's it at the end of turn 4. Next turn is going to be turn 5. The situation has how many turns? Has 10 turns, so almost halfway there. So let's take a look at see how everybody's doing right here. So down south, these guard units are really strong on the defense. They have a chance to take out these 2 half-tracks and that infantry. And as long as in this city over here, these engineers and infantry can hold down and keep those tanks dispersed, these guard units have a really good chance of taking out those 2 half-tracks, that infantry, reaching the ford, and just keep moving forward on the road and be in a position for a decisive victory. That's what's going on down south. Meanwhile, in the center, I think things are looking pretty good for the Russians too. It's going to be hard to take out that unit. Top of a hill. I might just have to have the armor move in position to take that king, kind of playing king of the hill over here. The Germans are going to need to find a way to take out that armor unit on a hill, that self-propelled gun. Thing is, the German guns have a range of 8. That unit on hill has a range of 5. So if I move that German armor unit to a range of 1, 2, 3, that's within the halfway mark, so it's doubled in strength. Whereas this one wouldn't even, this one would have a regular shot against that armor. But if I put it 4-way, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, so that's good. Up here, these units are sneaking along over here, these infantry units. They're going to skirt this swamp and head up this hill right here. By the end of the game, they could very well be at the L line, which is the line for tactical victory. This group of, got some mortars and you got some infantry. They're going to be all right as long as they avoid open ground. They're going to be much harder to kill. They can go up this hill, through the woods, maybe down. They might even have a chance to reach the decisive victory line. If they can just survive for the remainder of this turn where they are, if at turn 10, they're in a position where they're right behind one of the phase lines, since they move last, they can move forward and just get that victory. All right, that's all for today. Thank you for coming and enjoying my review of turn 3 and turn 4. And please